Up in Greeley with Jason. He had one day in Aurora with Jesus. I think they really had some super good competition there. And he had a high card day of 21 and finished up with 60 sales for the week. So awesome job there. And anybody else, new managers, any shout outs to anybody out there in the field?
I want to give a shout out to Daniel.
Okay.
And just showing up on time, following the system, caring about his customers, and he's already getting into what we call the flow state. Yeah. Like it takes some people a lot longer to get to this flow state where it's just like you don't even really realize what you're doing. You're just working and people are paying you back to back to back. And he wrote like 4 in an hour, just one presentation after another, and he's just so good with his people skills and the way he talks, and he cares about people, and you don't have to babysit him. He's his own man. He's there for his own reasons. He's got a bigger purpose than just to work for a paycheck. He's there to make things happen, to take care of his family, and to do it at a high level. And it's just great to see him do it, and especially being only here for 3 weeks. So
awesome.
It's great to see.
And I've heard nothing but great things about Daniel since he started. So, just really, really excited to see that. It's not often we have someone come on who not only has great results, but who's also super responsible for everything that they do. Their turn-ins are right, their white cards are turned in, their appointments are put in the book, and everything is done by the book from beginning to end without you having to be told. I see this guy, he comes in here on a Tuesday because he was out of town last week, but he comes in on a Tuesday, and he's got his adorable little baby with him that did not like me at all. He's got an adorable little baby with him, and he's dressed in a suit just to come in to do a turn-in. And did he ask? Did he call and say, hey, I got my baby, can I just wear jeans today? No, he just comes in dressed up because he's coming into the office, professional atmosphere, does what he needs to do, and, and got everything taken care of, and just super sharp and really excited about, having you on the team and how you're doing, Daniel. So, great shout out to Daniel. Awesome. And without further ado, Mr. Colton Havens is going to finish up our meeting today.
Woo! Alright. I'm excited. Alright, so everybody give me one clap together. Come on, give me 2 claps. Woo! Yeah, alright. I'm Colton Havens. Just a little background on me. I wrestled in college, wrestled since I was like 4. So, athletic family. I'm 1 out of 6 kids. So, big family. Lots of, when it's Christmas time, there's like 40 girls at my Christmas. I got 9 nieces, and get my nephew this month. So I'm pretty excited about that. But today I wanted to talk to you guys basically just about my story, my development story here in this company, and what this company's been able to help me do with not only my life as a career, as a professional, but also my home life and the balance that I've been able to create here. Okay, so how many people here want to be a top producer? Show of hands. If your hand's not raised, you're in the wrong room. Okay? Seriously. For real. Because what we have here, the ability that we have here, the things that we can give you, is going to change your life. And I say that from here, because it's done it for me. Okay? When I found this, I am where you are. If you are brand new, you're looking for something, this can be it. Okay? Give me a second. I didn't think it was going to be like this. All right? Like this. Okay? You call it back. But what I was doing is I was hating my life. Okay? I hated it. I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings. I did everything you could think of. Construction. Bro, I be mowing lawns. I be raking up shovels. I don't care. I knocked on your door. Look, I just shoveled your sidewalk. I didn't care if you paid me or not, but if you did, thank you very much. Okay? It was my mom, 4 of us. She's doing double shifts. She's doing 12 hours plus. Then she's coming home with love and gratitude and being very real. Yeah. Okay, that's where I'm from. Yeah. Okay, I don't expect to be like this, all right? Go. So I'm working at Buffalo Wild Wings. Hated what I was doing. I'm making $500 every 2 weeks. More importantly than the money I was making is what I was doing. I hated it. Hated knowing that I was working harder than everybody else. Okay, if I could physically run the kitchen at Buffalo Wild Wings, I could do the whole thing. Okay, I could do it all and do better than anybody else, and I got paid the same amount of money as this dude that's been on his phone all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You've been there. That's real outside of here. You want to get paid what you're worth, you're in the right room. Okay? If you want to get paid what you're worth, you're here now, and this company can do that for you. Okay? But this isn't I deserve it type of thing. You earn this. The numbers that you just heard, that's 1,000 a week. That's 1,000 4 days. My bad weeks are 1,000 to 800 in 3 days. Okay? That's a bad week, people.
That's right.
Okay? Until you understand that, you're going to be like a lot of people are here when they're stuck in what they call, quote unquote, the learning curve. This gentleman here, he's no longer in a learning curve. He's here to do. He's here to implement. He's here to execute. Because he doesn't get paid if he doesn't. His girl doesn't eat if he doesn't execute. And you are so selfish that it's okay if you don't execute. Because you're thinking of yourself. You're not thinking of other people.
That's right.
There's more people that count on you. Okay, it's time to get it done. All right? So it took me from that point where I was, and if you're here in the meeting, if you've been out in the field, if you've been in an interview, you're already ahead of me. Because I just showed up to the interview. What we call the honest interview is what we call it now. Third phase, where we actually put you out in the field. I just showed up to the kiosk, okay? It wasn't one of these, it was at the mall, Colorado Mills Mall, first day, okay? I'm walking to the kiosk. Those who've been in training, you already know the story. I'm walking to the kiosk, I'm looking in my bank account, I got negative $500 in my account. If you got more money than that and this is your first day, you're already ahead of me. Okay? I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what it was going to be. All I knew is I was going to make it work. Okay? First day, I walk up to the kiosk, and he shows me what it is. He goes, you get 19 portraits for $20, $10 pays the photographer. It's $30 total. I'm like, yeah, bet. He's like, no, you're not buying this. You're going to tell other people that they're buying this. I'm like, oh, all right, I got you. And then so he's out here, right? He's talking to people. I'm talking to people. I get paid. I get that $20 bill, and I go to give it to him. And he goes, no, bro, that's yours.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? You're going to pay me to talk to people? My whole life, construction, landscaping, hourly wage, hours and hours in the field, cold, heat, weather, and you can pay me for talking to people? Why didn't you tell me about this before? I was like this, for you, miss. I was running down the hallway, and I'm like, miss, for you. And he's like, get back here. You can't go past the kiosk. There's rules. You can't go that far. I'm like, everybody gets one. I'm like freaking Oprah, bro. I'm like, you get one, okay? And I did great. I did great my first 3 days, okay? I did 5 my first day. I did 20 my second day. I did 14 my first day alone. I made $585 in 3 days working at Buffalo Wild Wings, $500 every 2 weeks. I just doubled my pay in 3 days. That was a big jump for me, okay, pay-wise. Now the problem came with the success, okay? This is something they don't teach you in school. I thought I knew everything. I did my first 20 card day. Ooh, you're gonna hear my name, baby. Better watch out. Guess what happened? I started to suck. I knew everything. I was already good. You expect me to be on time? Hell no. I'm good, baby. All right, I was sucking. Okay. It actually got to the point where I'm doing this job. I was supposed to be up in Washington, driving my little Honda Civics, 1995. The only car I had, you know me. And I'm doing so bad after I did so good that literally I didn't have the money to put into the gas to get to make the money. I put my last $35 on a credit card to fill up my tank to get me to my job because of my ego.
Yep.
Because I knew everything. And it didn't take but this beautiful lady back here, Melissa, to check me, to sit me down and go, look, this is what you're doing, okay? You're doing 35, 25 a week. You're working 7 days, 6 days a week. You're putting in 12 hours per day. You're working 70 hours a week right now, getting paid $250, $300 a week. You're worth more. Are you getting paid what you're worth? A lot of you aren't willing to dig to get the gold. You're tired now from shoveling. You forgot why you're digging in the first place. Okay? You're quitting 3 feet from your goal. All right, you're putting down the shovel saying, I did it. I got blisters now. I'm done. Instead of getting the results and executing and then putting the shovel down and saying, there's the gold. You're quitting too soon. Okay? So she sat me down. She goes over my numbers. She says, you do 8 a day, 5 days, $50. We'll pay you this amount of money, $1,000 a week. Okay? You can do that. She made it real for me. But yet I still was inconsistent. I still wasn't making it happen on a regular basis. Okay? It took her to check me again. Check me again. If you're in, quote unquote, the learning curve, if you've been here longer than a month or a year and you ain't a top producer right now, it's your fault. It's your fault. You don't want it bad enough. You ain't willing to show up and grind. You ain't willing to dig to get the gold. It's too hard for you. You don't want it bad enough. You're average. Go somewhere else where average people go. Okay? It's just too hard for you. Okay? Exactly. All right? But she checked me again. What do we preach up here? Pick up a book. That's what we preach. Pick up a book. Your pay will come. Pick up a book. People will be there. Pick up your book. People will buy. Okay? She asked me this question. What book are you reading? I don't read books, Mel. In my head, I was like, books are for nerds. I said that in my head because I've been programmed to say that from the way I was raised. Dad didn't read. He specifically preached the not reading, okay? And it wasn't until who has the app Audible right now on your phone? Raise your hands, raise your hands. Who doesn't? Pull your phone out and download Audible right now. We'll wait. Well, wait, do it right now, because it wasn't because she made me do it that put the change in my life of my consistency. I read the first book I ever read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't read it, pick up a book. All right, read this book. It changed my perspective on not only how I looked at money and how I looked at my job, but how Colton and what Colton expected from himself. Okay? What do you want for yourself? What do you want in your life? You probably haven't been asked that question. Because if you knew what you want, you would have an ant mentality. What I mean by that is an ant will go around the objective, go over, sideways, because he has a goal in mind. Doesn't matter what happens, he's going to get that goal. And you guys don't have an ant mentality. Right now, if you're struggling, you don't have an ant mentality. If you're a top producer, you probably have an ant mentality. You set a goal, right, you achieve it. If you're a top producer, that's your mentality. Or you wouldn't be here. All right? And it took me from reading that book, I finally made the decision I was going to be a top producer. The people that are top producers have made that decision here. If you're not a top producer, you haven't made the decision to be one. That's why you haven't made it where you want to be. That's why you're not making the money you want to make. You haven't decided. You're out there saying, oh, I could be. It's possible to make 1,000, but I'm not going to go for it. If it happens, it happens. You don't make 1,000 by accident. You don't make 100 grand by accident. Okay? You can make 40 G's by accident. You make 20 G's by accident. People do it all the time. Go get an hourly job. It's not for you. Okay? It was my decision making. I can remember very clearly. I'm sitting there. I hadn't been consistent yet at this point, okay? It was when I was still in the newer phase of things, and I'm standing there looking at the Target sign right now in the Colorado Mills. People are walking up, and I'm talking to people, and it clicks for me. I go, the more people I talk to, the more money I can make. There's potential. I'm going to be freaking good at this. And it wasn't right there at that moment, I started writing 20 cards. But because of that decision, I have had the ant mentality. I'm showing up 20 minutes earlier than you. I stayed 25 minutes later than you. I gave 120% instead of 100%. You're not willing to do the little extra. That's why you are where you are. Okay? If you really decide means death to all other options. There's no other options, because if I didn't decide, my baby doesn't eat. If I didn't decide, my kids don't have clothes. Okay? So from that decision, every single person in this room that is a top producer has made that decision. Okay? Danny, would you share your decision moment? That one moment of clarity where you just decided that you were going to be one of the top producers?
Well, I've been here a super long time, and I think it's really funny that you call out how you had an issue with tardiness at the beginning, because I also struggled with that. It took Christine sitting me down and telling me that she liked me and I better get my stuff together or I would be out of here, to get that corrected in my life, because I thought it was going to be another bullshit job just like all the other ones I've had, and you know, just another paycheck where I'm not making any money. But I have had wonderful mentors being here and had the opportunity to go out to Las Cruces, New Mexico with Tony Maffei. He was a portrait consultant that we used to call on back in the day when we had a big pass and we knew he'd come out and kick everybody's ass. And this store I had really struggled at. I had sat in the parking lot and cried on the phone because I'd run a $70 average and thought it was the mall and it was the people and it was them, and what the hell did Melissa send me out here for? She knows I can't do this store. And it took me going out with Tony and sitting side by side with him and watching him kick my ass and knowing that not everything he was doing was perfect, and I had just as much great personality as he did and just as much potential as he did to run those numbers to make that click for me. So it was Tony kicking my ass that made me realize that I could also do the same thing. Sure. And I feel like really after then is when I started getting consistent, because I had those expectations for myself. Right? I knew I could do it. It had been proven, and there was no other option at that point.
You decided.
Right.
You made the decision that, hey, you know what, I can make this happen. Right? And then this gentleman here, Jason. This guy's kicking ass, taking names everywhere he goes. One of our 50-50 owners. There was a time where you were walking out the door and you made the decision to make this company happen. Would you share that story with everybody?
Yeah, it was in Nebraska, and that's where all my dad was, everybody, and we were gonna do this promotion, and I was doing pretty good. Not like real. I mean, I was consistent, but I wasn't put up the big numbers. But I was still doing good, and I was like, I couldn't believe that I go into a store and I've been writing 50, 60 cards a week, and then I go in here and write one card, and I'm like, what's going on, you know? So I was literally walking out of the store when my dad comes up and goes, where are you going? And I go, I'm out, I'm done. He's like, why? I said, cause this isn't for me. He's like, how do you know? I said, cause it's just not. And then he's like, I think you need to stay. I'm like, all right, whatever. Went back the next day and wrote 20, just because of the mentality. And I just wanted to point out what you said. You earn this. You earn this. You don't. It's not like I deserve this. You know, I was in top sales at my last job for 15 years. Had a lot, you know, but in an instant it can be gone, you know. And I was just one number to be pulled. And I remember when I found this, I had $50 in my bank account, $50. I was working I got fired from my job, and I started working for $9 an hour, 6 kids, and married with $9 an hour.
Can I stop you right there? Okay, so that is Jason's why. That's why Jason can pick the shovel up again and keep digging for gold, because he's not out there thinking, oh, this is for me, this is for myself, this is, oh, why am I taking this damage? He's not selfish.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, he's got a bigger reason to grind out there than for just Jason. Yeah. That's what gets him to pick up the shovel again. And you got this gentleman right here, this Daniel. This guy right here, brand new, coming in. He's got a brand new baby to feed.
That's right.
Okay. Would you be willing to share your decision story for all of our new people?
It was actually my wife, man, because I came in, did an interview. You know, I thought I was a fit for the job, but this is a time I didn't have much confidence in myself. You know, they told me, you know, come back when you're ready, blah, blah, blah. And I called my wife, like, hey, you know, it might be a good thing or not. She was like, call them back right now, because that is a job for you. And then I was like, okay, so I got on board, and it was like, Jason, I was consistent, but I wasn't putting out the big numbers. It was, you know, here and there, but it was this, I remember I saved this picture, and it's actually my background, but my wife sent a picture of her and my little girl, and she said, we're proud of you. And at that moment, I was just like, yeah, I gotta do this. I gotta make it happen, because it was, like you keep saying, it isn't for me. And if for anybody in here, you know, that doesn't have kids, and you're like, how do I find my motivation? Do it for yourself. Personal development, you know? This is a growth company. If you're not in here to grow, this isn't the right room for you. Because you need, like I said, if you don't have any kids, do it for yourself. Because I know you're not mentally, or however you want to put it, 100% you. You need to grow. You need to learn to achieve. Pick up a book. I'll preach this with Colton. I've worked 4 days with this man, and every single day I woke up and this man was in the living room reading a book. And I asked him, I was like, hey man, can I read a book with you? And he's like, yeah, of course. Me and him sat down, we kept reading books, and we were one of the top 10 or top 2 bestsellers of the week. Read a book. It will not disappoint you.
Awesome.
You know.
Awesome. That's awesome. So for you new people and the people in the learning curve, decide. Make a decision today that you're not messing around no more. Your time's too valuable. And so I want to touch a little thing here, because they got to this point where I got very consistent. I'm still consistent to this day, but it took me a decision. So where I was finally making the money I was supposed to be making, the money that we preach here, 1,000 a week, 1,000 plus, okay? I started doing 60, 70, you know, and I started saving a lot of money, and I wanted to do the 50-50 programs. For those of you that are brand new, this gentleman's doing one right now, but 50-50 programs, we give you an opportunity to buy into the business so you can work for profits on the back end, so you're not out there slaving all the time. Okay? We give you an opportunity to make profits, not just a paycheck. Okay? As soon as I heard that, I was like, bet. I'm in. Okay? Bet. So I started working hard. I'm sitting down with Melissa, talking about it, and then Dave walks in. And I remember specifically Dave saying this, standing right here. He said, if half the people did what they said they were going to do, I'd be the richest man in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
All right? So there's a quote that stuck with me all through high school. Don't talk about it, be about it. Okay? So instead of telling Dave, hey, I'm going to be your next 50-50, as he walks in, I already had the money saved. But it's in my bank right now. You swipe the card, we're in business. Instead of, hey, I'm going to be your 50-50, but you know what, it's going to, be a minute before I get that, the way my bank account's set up, it, goes into the, none of that. It's just, hey, look, let's go, right? Because that's what it is, and he can pull the trigger. When you talk to that man and you say, let's do it, you're going to do it the next day, okay? It's not like, oh, yeah, I want to do it, and then you're doing it in a month from now, okay? You're no longer a child. Right, me and Melissa were having this conversation this morning. When you're out there selling to people, right, you get 19 portraits, $20, $10, pays the photographer, you pay today. I have to pay today? Yes, ma'am. You didn't tell me I had to pay today. I just did. Of course you do, man. Of course you do. You're in a mall. You're in a mall, right? First of all, you're in a mall. Okay, right? Why'd you come to the mall, right? First of all. Second of all, you have bags in your hand already. Okay, third of all, you just told me you have a brand new baby girl and you want to do pictures for grandma, and I just asked you to make the commitment and you just told me no. You are not a child anymore. That's like you saying, Mom, I want a Power Ranger. Okay, but you got to pay for your own money. No, you know what, Mom? I don't want this Power Ranger no more. Grow up. You wanted it, now you decided you got to put action to it, and now you're going to talk yourself out of it. You're not a child anymore. Grow up, make a decision. Okay? It's a decision business. Okay? But what happened to me is because I started getting so consistent, I started running 50-50s. I ran 3 50-50s. Okay, I was basically doing it by myself. I didn't have a strong enough team to stay by my side to run it with me. But you know what happened? I made too much money. What a weird problem. It's a problem that you don't hear very often, but it's very, very real. I had too much money saved. I had too much money coming in on a regular basis. I got soft. And I started doing some other things, dabbling in other businesses. They still make me money. They just don't make me my 50 plus yet. Okay? Both my businesses are still profitable. They're not producing as much to live off yet. Okay? So I had a conversation with Dave where I'm like, hey, I'm going to go pursue these. He goes, I bet you're going to be back. And I was like, no way, man. I was like, no way. Yeah, I'm back. All right? Because I had too much money. Okay? It goes back to the ego. Ego is your enemy.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay? Stay a student. Stay learning. Stay developing. Stay green. Or else you're going to what? You're going to rot out. All right? So that's what I have for you today. That's my time. And make it happen this weekend. If this is your first time meeting, if this is your first meeting, just go out here to the sitting room and you'll have a manager with you. If you guys are not brand new, you know what to do. But we'll see you guys at the top.
Thank you.